All right. All right. All right. All right. We are live. Let's give folks a few minutes to get here. Going to hook up the battery charger today. Make sure we don't run out of juice while we're streaming. Let's see. See if it can fit in box. Ooh, tight fit. Here we go. All right. Welcome to the live stream, week of Halloween. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to do a few things here. I'm going to set up for a traditional video. I got multiple cameras today, so that's a first. All right. Pretty sure I have enough space on those cameras. All right. I think that's there. All right. Well, got a couple of things planned for today. I'm going to switch over to something real quick. Actually, I could just do it on my other phone. All right. All right. So we're going to try multiple angles. We're going to see how this goes. I've got my Steadicam. I've got my live stream. And one more thing for today, my If We Need It close-up and handheld camera. So and magnifier, of course. So we should be just about set for all of this. So those of you that are catching this as just an edited video, I do live streams every Wednesday, starting sometime between 10 and 11 o'clock. I really do like those to start sooner rather than later. So 11 is kind of my goal on those. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of updates today, and we're going to talk about some things that are coming in the greenhouse, kind of how the greenhouse is performing, and then just depending on how people pop in and out, there might be some other projects that I'm working on. There's one that's going to be a little bit more involved, and I don't know how well it'll go on a live stream versus just kind of, there you go, brighter. That's much easier to see. A live stream versus just something where I record and edit it might be a little bit more entertaining if I do it that way. So let's talk a little bit about the greenhouse. So we did have our first frosty weeks, our first week of frost. We put the bog garden out this weekend. California Carnivores is the carnivorous plant nursery and YouTube channel that I have been following to learn a little bit more about carnivorous plants, because those are new to me. I mean, every kid that loves plants gets a Venus flytrap when they're younger, and I am no exception. I probably had 3 or 4 of them as a kid, killed every single one of them within maybe 2 months. So I've been learning a lot. I was gifted one by my wife last fall, and actually put a good effort into it. So I worked really hard to keep that thing going and did some experiments with it. It ended up being a windowsill plant. The key to those is a south-facing window if you're in the northern hemisphere, or north-facing window if you're in the southern hemisphere, and then a dish of water. And apparently you're supposed to use distilled water or rainwater. And I don't buy distilled water. And in the North Idaho area I'm at, we get like 12 inches of rain in my town a year. So rainwater is something we only get in the winter, and it's not something I can really secure in the summer unless we have a thunderstorm. But I think we went 2.5, almost 3 months without measurable rain this summer. So there's not really a chance that I had to capture any rainwater. So they got to be outside just on they got to be watered with just regular tap water. One of the things that I've done with that is I just let it sit and let all the chlorine evaporate out of it. So I don't really worry about that. But now I've got tubs under the downspouts. We had 1/4 inch of rain this morning, which is when you get 12 inches of rain a year, that's a significant portion. People are just popping in and out. It's a live stream. You can stay. I'm not scary. So anyway, yeah, we got about 1/4 inch of rain this morning, so that went into the totes. I'm going to store some of that away, but next summer they're going to be in an area where the automatic sprinkler system is going to top off the totes, or the tubs. So I'm not going to be super picky about that. They're going to get what they get, and they're not going to throw a fit. Mineral buildup is one of the things that people worry about. I don't know. I'll just cycle the tanks. So that's an update. But yeah, freezing weather. So that brings up the question: how's the tiny greenhouse doing? Let me tell you, tiny greenhouses are hard to keep heated. Those of you on the live stream, you're actually sitting on a 40-gallon drum right now. That was my fertilizer drum. It's now in the greenhouse. I haven't edited the video for that. It's going to be kind of a brief one. I'll try to do that tonight. But that's going to act as another one of our heat sinks. We have I think they probably hold about 10 gallons. The 3 of the 4 water features are in here now, acting as other heat sinks. I run a little electric heater, just this guy. So that's all that I'm really using to heat this greenhouse. I can't turn it up too high because it is running off an extension cord. Ooh, heater on an extension cord. I've checked the cord. It's not overheating. I've checked everything with a thermometer. It's fine. I was running those off of extension cords in the research greenhouse up where I taught, just in case the propane ran out. When you've got a crop, you want to back up if you're basically an hour away. So I always had a little base heater running in there as long as it could keep it above freezing. To me, that's all that mattered. Man, for a lot of people wanting to be on the live, we've got 0. That's okay. So anyway, one of the things that we're going to do as an improvement. So with the greenhouse, I didn't even do an intro. Hey, Teacher Thoughts coming at you with another video. We're going to get into it today, so thanks for joining. We're going to talk a little bit about the greenhouse. So, sorry, this kind of clipped right in there. The greenhouse, the side walls are made out of 1/4 inch gapped corrugated poly. They're not super insulated. This greenhouse, you can see that the heater struggles to keep it warm. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another layer of insulation. And what I'm going to use is plastic drop cloths. So these are 7 mil, 9x12 drop cloths. They're super, super thin. You sneeze on them and they get a hole in them. But I'm going to use this as my creating a triple layer. So this is going to go over the top of all of these boards. and the pipes, and I'm going to staple that on there. I might actually start working on that now. But this is going to go on there, and it's going to provide another little air gap. So it's going to help insulate the greenhouse a little bit more. So the majority of our light is going to be coming through the roof, but in the wintertime, it's actually going to be coming from these guys here. Unstable connection. Hopefully this live holds in there. Sorry, I've got to do these Wi-Fi. But yeah, so we've got supplemental light. They kick on about 3 o'clock. Once the, North Idaho, we're a little bit further north, our days get really, really short. So we're not worried as much about the light that's coming through the sidewalls. We're worried about what's coming through the roof. Where I situated the greenhouse, you can kind of see up above me, there's shadows. So it does sit in the shade. Not great planning, but that's where it fit in the yard. And it's going to give me a chance to work in the yard to prep the new site for the greenhouse, which is actually going to be over behind me the other direction, where I'm going to build a formal greenhouse and sitting room. So not only can I have a growing space, but my wife and I can enjoy some time and looking at the view and surrounded by plants. And, I'll put electricity and heat in there, so it'll give me a chance to have a better growing space, a better education space, something that I can teach from, but also something that I enjoy while I'm not teaching. So that being said, we're in the shade. It's wintertime, light's low. We're running a small electric heater. We need all the insulation we can get. So we're going to use these plastic drop cloths to do that. I might actually start working on that and just kind of wait for people to pop in, start and stop the camera as need be. But yeah, I'm here. Really, I'm here for your questions. It's going to be more greenhouse work today than it's going to be anything. So I'm gonna start working on that. And yeah, so I think the first area I'm going to work on is going to be over here behind me. I'm going to try to get some of that cleaned up, which means I'm going to have to reorganize my electrical, but we're going to go ahead and put a drop cloth all the way against that wall. And there should be space. No, I didn't leave much space, but there is some space between the top of the side of the bench and the wall. So I'm going to try to go ahead and filter or fit that between it. But yeah, so that's one of the tasks today, is insulate that, but we'll work on that as we can. As far as they come, but they just don't stay. So as far as insulation, we're going to work on a couple of things there. Let's see. I've got a message down here. Give me a moment. No, we're not going to leave this members only. This is just going to be regular. Okay, so we're just going to work on the greenhouse now. Temperatures. 47 is the lowest it's gotten here, which is not ideal. I want to keep it above 56 because then the plants are actively growing at night. But yeah, all right. So let's start working on insulating the greenhouse. And then if y'all have questions, just drop them down in the chat and we'll cover those. All right. So get some of the stuff moved out and then we'll put that in there. And I'll keep an eye on the live stream. Still have friends. See that little guy? There's a budworm right there. We're gonna get rid of him. It's causing problems. Out the door. Okay, we're gonna get all these out of the way. It's gonna get rather crowded in here rather quickly. But we should have room to fit everything. Move the mother plant outside. She's a little large. Okay. all this stuff's just basically going to come up, and the cloth is going to go down underneath that. All right, so put that in there. And we only need a single layer. You know, we're only trying to prevent air from moving. We don't need to do more than that. So this stuff is, you know, 0.7 mil. It's pretty thin stuff. We aren't going to worry about adding any air pressure in between it. We're just going to let it be a passive air gap, which should be just fine. And just got some staple guns. We're going to be using those. Using some quarter inch staples on those, so something fairly small. You got to be careful that one, it holds it securely, so it's not moving it away from the wall, or leaving a gap between it and the wall. Let me rephrase that. It's not leaving an air gap between the board and the plastic. So we don't care if it leaves an air gap by the wall. We just don't want it leaving an air gap why? Okay, so those don't fit that stapler. Okay, that's why I brought both my staplers. But we want to make sure that this is tight up against the boards that we're stapling it to. We don't want a gap at the top because we don't want air to be able to move through our system. We want it to be captured. So we'll make sure that we put lots of staples in. And we're going to start out pretty even on this. I'm going to leave a little bit extra because I want to be able to come over to the board to the side. Then I'm going to kind of roll the top so that there's something for this to grab against. All right. Let's bring the Steadicam over. Okay, so this is going to go all the way across. I don't want to undo any of these because I don't want to redo my timer. Okay, we're going to just drag that all the way across. And then we will fit it down as we can. All right. So we're going to come across some things that we need to work around. So like the conduit or vertical posts, we're going to try to staple close to that so that we can keep that good air seal. And I think I can twist you guys now. There you go. And again, we're keeping a little bit of an edge up here that we're kind of rolling. Is that not that staple gun? That'll allow us to have something to staple against that's sturdy. So you're going to get as tight as you can to the conduit. Then you can keep just a little bit of a rolled edge all the way along. Just bunch it up. All that noise of the drops is condensation that's coming down. All right. Put this back over here. We'll work tucking those down in a little bit. All right. Okay, so we're going to work on a little bit more. Get that all the way over as far as we can reach. And then the rest of it, we're going to have to work our way down. All right, let's go back this way. Okay, so the next thing with that is we're going to go ahead and try to tuck it down between the bench and the wall, so to offer that extra layer of insulation. The heater's not keeping up, so the heater is working where it's not really cold and windy. The heater is able to hold the greenhouse to about 15 degrees above whatever the ambient temperature is outside, which is not quite enough. So we're going to add that extra layer of insulation through the poly to see if we can get that to work. I'd love it to hold 20 or 25 degrees or more, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna try to work around here. I think I'm just gonna leave the live that way, and we will work on the rest of the stuff just using the steady cam. So get that tucked down in there. Okay. This stuff is super easy to snag, so you just got to be really careful with that. So where the posts are, I'm just actually physically shoving the posts out and then pulling the plastic down below it. Okay, so that's going to keep going down, and then we're going to staple it across the bottom. All right, I think we're going to put that off to the side for a moment. Wish we had a bigger space. So we're going to keep working on this. I'm going to be down here for a second. All right. Okay, so there's a little bit of an air gap there. We're going to keep going on that. And then I might work just a little bit more on that. And then the rest of it, I'm going to just finish up off camera. Don't know how interested everybody is in just watching me work. But maybe we'll just pause on that part of the greenhouse. So that's what I'm going to be working on, is just adding the plastic sheeting to the sides to offer a little bit more insulation and try to keep things going a little bit better. Okay, so let's bring in the portable bench, and we will do some transplanting, see how the roots look on things, and maybe some of y'all will stick around a little bit longer when we're doing some actual plant work. So let's do that. I'll bring you forward. All right. Okay. Portable bench and glove up. All right. So, okay, I will fix this eventually. Okay, there's a new top cover for the portable bench. Okay, so we're going to work a little bit on some things here. Talk a little bit about how things are going. And kind of where we're going to go from here. So, those are kind of dry. I'll give them a little bit of water. Just clear water today, because the live stream is sitting on top. I think that's going right down in my pump. Oh well. Live stream is sitting on top of the fertilizer tank, so we're just going to do this so far. But yeah, we're gonna transplant up some of the other things. We're going to get the other cuttings in here. The pink vein is doing really, really well, right? So if I was receiving these as a nurseryman, I would be very, very happy. Those are really nice solid plugs, albeit they are awful early. So some of the things that we can work on with these is we can take out some of the buds, because we don't need any of these buds yet, but I'm going to let it bloom so I can kind of show those off later. So that's this is Surfina pink veined. Surfina pink vein. So that's a good one. That one's there. This is the Patea. So we've got 6 of those going. It's just not performing super well, but it's enough that we're going to keep it. And then the verbena. Of course, I forgot to label my verbena, so I don't know which one's which. So let's bring the cuttings up here. We're going to go through these and pot these up into more of our plug trays. So we're going to get that going in a moment. This is also the petunia that's a Firefly hybrid that everybody's interested in. So I'm going to do a little bit of work to that one. It's going to get potted up in a moment too. So we're going to work on that. But let me get some trays. Okay, there's that. There's our potting media. Okay, and then there's my tactical stick for getting those out. Let's see if I can find my tactical stick real quick. All right, let me go get that. Got a new tactical stick. So it's just basically any stick that'll fit in the bottom side. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and cut these little pony packs apart just because I prefer to be able to separate them. I don't need a great big thing. It allows me to put a little bit of an air gap in between them, especially when you're growing in the winter. Making sure that you have space in between your cuttings is rather important. So cut those corners off so you don't rip your gloves. Yes, I'll pick the plastic up later. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and try to see where some of these other cuttings are at. We took a look at some of them last week. I think this MRP should be ready, and it's not. Let's try it again. It is just not rooting well, which is unfortunate. But I am going to move it up anyway. There's our other tactical stick from last week. I'm going to move it up in container size. I think part of the reason it is not going is we're wintertime basically, and it just doesn't want to form roots and grow readily in wintertime. Oh, there we go. That's a decent one. Now they aren't increasing very large in soil volume, just enough so that I can kind of keep them a little bit dwarfed, because we have a long bit of winter to go. You know, we've just barely started winter, so they're going up a little bit. If I had some 2-inch bands, I would plant them up in that, but I don't have any 2-inch bands. Now, the roots are just barely starting on those, which is unfortunate. We're going to plant them up anyway. So some of them are going, some of them are not, but they all look like they're actively growing, but they're not actively growing. Well, this one's held fast, so that one's growing. There we go. We only need a few of these. And keeping them in a smaller container like this is going to allow me to put them on the heating mat for their roots, which should help them grow. So there you go. There's another one that's got some decent roots. And yeah, I realize they're not going up very big in size. So in a few weeks, we'll transplant them again up into 4-inch, and we'll see how that goes. But at least they're rooting. So I know I'm going to have, this is MRP is what I call it. So we're going to go ahead and water that, put that off to the side. Okay, let's see, what do we got next that we can get out of our plug tray? Yep, there's another one of our verbenas. Broke that one, so that gets to come off. The leaf does. So when I move them into these, it's going to help me keep track of numbers. Again, it lets me fit them into a space that I want them to be in. Allows me to increase the airflow, and if I've got kind of a night where it's going to get bitter cold and I know I can't keep the greenhouse warm enough, I can just come in and snag these trays and leave the rest of it to its demise if need be. But we're going to go ahead and push that up. So we are nearing the end of October. You'll notice from the skeleton shirt, Friday is Halloween. So we are right on track for our basket materials. You know, normally I would get those in January as rooted cuttings. So this is about the perfect time to be getting these, because I can go ahead and take more cuttings and replicate them a little bit more so that I have enough for all of the baskets and things that I would like to grow. My yard is basically going to all match this year because I'm limited on what I was able to take cuttings of and get growing. So there's that one. So there's a little bit of a verbena. Looks like I boogered up another leaf. That's okay. All right. So let's see what else we were able to get to take. I think this is lemon berry over here, and that's just a weed. There's lemon berry here. I think this is also lemon berry. Yeah, some of that stuff's growing, some of it's not. Okay, let's see if the bacopa took. Yeah, no roots on that bacopa. Take a look at this one. Yep, roots on that one. We just pulled a bunch of them off. All right, well. You know what? We'll clear it out of this tray. We'll just do that. Okay, and then this one had a few roots. We'll get that one out. Whatever comes with it, comes with it. Yeah, there's a few roots on there. Just not rooting fast because I think we're getting too cold at night. Well, that one really took off. Those are some decent roots. And again, we only need one. And those of you that came here, if you see that I have miserable looking cuttings, just realize they were taken at the very end of the summer on baskets that were half dead as kind of a, hey, I just realized I'm not going to be able to get this stuff next year, so I might as well take cuttings. And they'll be pretty representative of what most people will be able to attain. You know, cuttings, if you're not in absolute ideal conditions, they're gonna struggle. So this is just a kind of real world scenario for any average home consumer that's trying to do cuttings. So I'm not taking advantage of all of the technologies and techniques I have. We're just taking some of those and putting them together. Okay, there's all of the copa. So a few of those were well rooted, the rest of them were not, but that's okay. Okay, now it's time for us to take a look at some of the rest of the stuff. Take those sharp edges off. I think I got these at Home Depot. So Home Depot or a local farm store, I can't remember which, but they're readily available everywhere. So if you grab some of those, that way you can take your cuttings and give them just a little bit more volume. And we're going to just kind of, because we are in the winter and it's really hard to manage moisture, we're going to kind of take this easy. So I'm going to just slowly increase them in size. The other thing is in the coming weeks, I'm going to go through and cull a bunch of my Firefly Petunia hybrids. The ones that, you know, don't glow super bright, because we're going to get ready for all of those seedlings, and we're going to have a lot of seedlings coming up. So I'm going to be working on those. So right now we're just really kind of going through and salvaging this tray, seeing what's surviving and what's not surviving. Let's do this. This is the Kufia. It's not dead, but it's not growing. This stuff is really, really hard to keep alive. Ah, one root. Excellent. Okay, so it means we're going to work with this. So we're going to have one. There we go. One. That one didn't make it. And the Kufia, it's very important to have it by itself because it doesn't like to be wet. There's a couple of roots on this one. So I think the Kufia are going to root. They're just not rooting yet. So we'll go ahead and just make a little tray dedicated to the Kufia. And you really have to watch the moisture on it. When I had it with my rest of my cuttings and starts last year, it just did not like to be wet when it was younger. So I had to kind of move it off to the side. I lost a lot of them. So this is going to allow me to maintain that moisture and allow this plant to have times and periods of being dry, which is a good thing. There's the Kufia. And then let's get in here to some of the others. See, I think we got about 15 minutes left in the live. Don't remember what this one is. It looks kind of like a lemon berry to me. It does have a bud. It just looks like just a stem now, but there is a bud there. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one out too. I was really kind of counting on y'all to show up and ask questions, but that's not happening today. It's okay. I realize a midweek, middle of the day stream is kind of hard, but that's what kind of fits my schedule. So that's where we're at. I will try to carve out some time that's a little bit more ideal for folks. So we'll see how that goes. Get rid of the weeds and such. Felt a root break off on that one. That's not good. At least it still has some roots. Ha, knew it. Yeah, not very good roots on that one. Okay, move that one off the side too. Some of these other cuttings need a little bit more soil. There we go. Okay. All right. I've got one more. We will see what else is surviving. All those lemon berries don't seem to have made it. Let's see about this one. Well, something's rooting. There's a gray garden slug. That's not what I want in here. I'll put him in his own little container and see if we can get him to grow some buds. He's got plenty of roots, but no buds. Oh, looks like we had a slug or a snail working on these. Great. Yeah. I think they got the bud. Dang it. Oh well, we will try. We just may not have lemon berry this next year. Yeah. Got leaves, stems, and roots, but I don't have buds on those. there's any little part of it, it may attempt it later, but I think we're going to be fairly light on those, unfortunately. Yep, they are rooting. Gosh, there's nothing left of that one. Yeah, slugs or snails got to it. That's gone. That's gone. It's got a bud on it, so we'll try that one. That's gone. There's a live bud. We'll try that one too. Yep, live bud there. We'll try that one too. They're trying. I think that one actually is rooting. I don't remember what it is. I'll have to go back and look at the video. Yeah, that one rooted. Whatever it is, we are going to save it because it does have a root. Okay, go find another plug. We might be out of trays. That actually might be it. I know I've got some. Oh, they're way down. Okay, I'll get them. Knew I had some more. Okay, put that off to the side. We're just kind of upgrading everything today. Allow me to put it somewhere where it's not just one giant tray, and those that need to go inside because of inclement weather can do that. But these are really struggling, but they are at least there. There are some buds. So this will allow me to work on those more intensely. Okay. And then we'll take a look. It's another weed. Got what we had. We had a couple of starts of Patea and then some other random stuff out here. So we'll work on those. All right, we're going to wrap this live in about 4 minutes. That did not. Nematode on that one. Nope. None of those are taking. Okay, we'll move them. We'll move them anyway, because that's just what we're doing today. Okay, tray can go out. Okay, so that is going to be the Patea. And then these are just going to be random cuttings that we hope do something. But I'm not super hopeful that those are going to take. Where's my question mark tags? Don't know. Okay, well, I'll just have to remember that. We'll put a question mark on that. There we go. Question mark. Okay, I'm going to water those. And I think that's going to about wrap it for today. The live stream was pretty silent. That's okay. I know it's middle of the day, busy week. We'll see if we can get some weekend ones, but we'll see how it goes. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap it. We're right about noon. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I hope some of you stick around next time. Kind of hard to have a conversation when nobody else is here. But anyway, Ag Teacher Thoughts out.